Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and I am truly stoked today. I've got a guest that I'm just super excited to visit with. His name is Kevin Given, and Kevin is, well, he's been involved with all sorts of different things communications-wise over the years. He and I both have communications degrees or communications majors, and but Kevin's had a pretty exciting career in terms of different things that he's been involved in. He's been involved in radio, and now he's involved in one of my favorite things, comics. Kevin, welcome. Glad to have you with me.
Thanks, Dave. It's good to be here.
Great. Why don't you go into a little more detail? Talk to us a little bit. I know you have a YouTube channel. I was just actually on your channel a little while ago watching your review of the Great Vegetable Rebellion. Is that what it was called? From Lost in Space?
Yeah, that was one of the cheesier episodes towards the end of the series.
That one is, I don't know whether I hate it or love it. I can't decide with that episode.
Oh, it was a fun show, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
it's a series that's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, I love watching that show.
So anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've trying to branch out into comic books. Doing a Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter.
Now you're the writer on that series, right?
Correct. I'm the writer. The current trade paperback is available online. It's called Dracula Rising. It was drawn by Rodolfo Ezequiel, and you can look for that online.
I'll post a link to all of this stuff that we talk about in the description field so people can link to it directly.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you, sir. And it's coming along pretty good.
Is some of that stuff on Amazon as well?
Dracula Rising is on Amazon.
Yeah.
And the novels, Last Rites, The Return of Sebastian Basilis, and Foul Blood are both on Amazon.
You also have some essays out there, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I have a book, Comics, Pop Culture, and Politics, which is a collection of my writings. I do columns and comic book and movie reviews for two sites. It would be Comics for Sinners and Comic Crusaders. Both publish my reviews and writings, and I put a collection together and put it in a book form. So that's out there if you're interested. Talks about different political things in the world of comic books and stuff like that. Had a lot of time during the lockdown, so now I'm back to work.
How did the YouTube channel come about? Is that also due to having extra time during the lockdown, or have you been doing that for a while?
I started the YouTube channel in St. Louis. I was working up there and taking my weekends. I had a 3-day weekend. Decided to do a little show based on comic books, and that evolved into the show I'm doing now. Don't Make Me Watch That. Where
I love that.
I review bad TV, bad movies, and some good ones too. I did a show on the Cheers episodes of Robin Colcord, which is some of my favorite shows. So I call that one, I Want to Watch That. There
was another one too. I'm drawing a blank on the title. It was the Hillbilly episode. Yeah, I think it's your most.
Oh, Hillbillies in a Haunted House.
Yeah.
And had country stars along with horror icons, Lon Chaney Jr., Basil Rathbone, and John Carradine.
Merle Haggard was in it too, right?
Yeah, he's only in like a concert sequence.
Right.
He's on a TV. One of the characters is watching TV, and he's singing a song on there, and then he shows up at the end to do the concert.
Give us a teaser. Is there a topic you can share with us?
Yes, I'm doing a show on 2 movies that have Asian themes that came out roughly the same time: The Golden Child versus Big Trouble in Little China. Eddie Murphy and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, so I do have a favorite of the 2. It's not the Eddie Murphy movie.
I know that's the thing, that the Eddie Murphy movie gets bad reviews, but that made the money. Yeah. Whereas Big Trouble in Little China is a cult classic. There's even a comic book on that, and that didn't make the money at the box office.
Right.
A lot of John Carpenter's films didn't see box office fame, but are considered cult classics now. The Thing and
They Live.
I just watched that, I think, on Tubi the other night, or Stars, or one of those kind of channels.
Yeah, I watched it probably 2 or 3 months ago. I just had a hankering to get me a little Rowdy Roddy Piper. And I was feeling a little nostalgic, and I watched a double feature of They Live and Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I've never seen that one.
It's good. I'd recommend it. So let's talk about you. We were talking just in email about what could we talk about. You and I both have a love for comics and superheroes, that genre, and particularly when comic book characters kind of cross over from the printed page, either it's onto television or the movie screen. And if I remember right, we agreed to talk a little bit about Wonder Woman today. So
Yes, in light of the new movie that's coming out, I don't know when it's going to be
maybe,
released with the lockdown, but there's a new Wonder Woman movie coming out, so I thought we'd talk about her history and the comics and the TV show and
yeah,
all that
yeah.
fun stuff.
You want to kick us off and get going in terms of starting us off, Kevin, and I'll add in.
Wonder Woman was started, the very first female superhero, probably. There are other heroes before her, like Sheena, the Jungle Girl, and that type of thing. But
Right.
they weren't super powered with the bracelets and all that and the lasso. They were just ordinary girls who could kick butt. But William Moulton Marston created the character. He's kind of a 40s feminist type of a guy, I guess you'd call him. I don't know. He had two relationships going at the same time, which was weird for 1940s. And he created the character Wonder Woman. He's a psychiatrist, and he invented the polygraph, the original lie detector, which is kind of interesting.
It's the real version of the golden lasso.
Exactly. That's probably where he got the idea for the golden lasso. Was his lie detector.
Well, definitely a man ahead of his time, apparently. So let's fast forward. I think there were a couple of attempts to get Wonder Woman on to the TV screen. There was an animated version, but where do you want to start? We could either start with Kathie Lee Crosby or Linda.
Well, even before Kathie Lee Crosby, the girl who played Nova on Planet of the Apes was in an unsold pilot right around the time of the old Batman TV series.
Is that the thing that's floating around YouTube that's just like where she sees herself in the mirror? She looks different in reality
Exactly.
as opposed to who she sees in the mirror?
Yes. I'm trying to find her name. The one who played Nova on Planet of the Apes, Linda Harrison, that was her name. And she looked really good, except the costume was incredibly bad.
Yeah.
And it just, if she had had the right costume, she would have looked very good, but that costume was bad. And it was a good thing that didn't get made because it wasn't funny and it wasn't, pilot wasn't funny. This wasn't good at all.
There was that attempt in the 60s, but then we fast forward to the 70s and we get the Kathie Lee Crosby movie. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yes, I saw it when it came out. I've seen it since then. Kathie Lee Crosby was a very beautiful woman, but that Wonder Woman did not resemble the comic books in any way, shape, or form. The costume was terrible. It was pretty much a jumpsuit with stars attached to it, I think. And
there was a period in the Wonder Woman comics where they tried to kind of recreate Wonder Woman, where she lost her powers and she becomes a spy. And she
right, I remember
has an outfit that's somewhat similar. It's not identical, but somewhat similar to what Kathie Lee Crosby sports. But boy, oh boy, I watched it when it first aired on ABC as well. I was excited, and that wasn't Wonder Woman to me.
No, it wasn't. And that interpretation tank is every time they try to reboot things and change everything around, they always fail.
Yeah.
Even to this day, they're trying to, when they did like Speed Racer, which was a well-made movie, but it wasn't Speed Racer.
Right.
So it tanked. And they just got to stick to the formula and they'll succeed.
Right. They got to make sure that they appeal to the fan base, right? The people that are going to see that movie because they love the original. I think another perfect example of that is the Land of the Lost movie that came out with Will Ferrell. Right? I mean, there's some funny moments in the movie, but a lot of those people that went to it were fans of the original series, and they were looking for maybe some humor, but a more respectful, more true adaptation of the story as opposed to what they got. We both agree Kathie Lee Crosby as Wonder Woman was a bit of a bust, but then it was ABC said, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board. And it was, I think, just about a year later. It wasn't very long that we got another Wonder Woman movie, this time with Linda Carter. Did you get a chance to watch it the same time I did when it debuted?
Loved it. Watched every episode. I watched that, The Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man, all the superhero stuff, the Hulk, everything that came out back then. And Wonder Woman was And Linda Carter's beautiful, and the adaptation was on to the comic books, so of course it worked. The adaptation that didn't stick true to the formula didn't work, and the one that stuck true to it worked well.
Yeah, totally agree. So here's my question for you. Season 1 on ABC, seasons 2 and 3 on CBS, no longer set during World War II, but in modern times. And she's paired with Steve Trevor Jr. instead of the original Steve Trevor. Both played by Lyle Wagner, though. So what was your preference? Did you have a preference between the two versions of the show?
No, I liked them both. They kind of downplayed the romantic interest in the second and third season because,
Yeah.
I mean,
it'd be kind of weird.
Weird, yeah, that's the best way to put it. I liked all of them. I liked the whole series.
Yeah. Here's the weird thing is that at the time, I enjoyed seasons 2 and 3 more. I just liked the updatedness and it felt more current. Now, for whatever reason, now as I go back and watch them, I enjoy those a little bit more. But they're all good. And you're right. I mean, it's essentially the same, not only the same cast, but the same production team behind it. So it feels very, even though they're in different time periods, it feels very fluid and like it's the same show.
Exactly.
That takes us to, if we're just talking about live action versions, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm going to throw this at you. Did you see the 2011 David E. Kelly version of Wonder Woman?